Mics are live.
Pretty good sound effect, huh?
It didn't inspire Matt to do it.
No.
Sorry.
He's busy. Matt's busy. He's doing, wow, that's a weird one.
Here we go.
I can't make that noise.
Is he working?
This is Penn Sunday School.
Not anymore.
And to our listening
Time's up.
ears, all angels sings and baptized sings the music of the spheres.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn's Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Ledoux, and with Matt Donnelly, we are broadcasting from the Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. This week, Penn and Teller debuted 3 new bits in the Rio show. Penn got about 1,000 new pets, saw Cher's live show, and was on the TV show Crashing. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Oh, yeah, you angel-headed hipsters. You know I love you. You know I love you. Oh, I got to tell you, I watched last night. I don't like to watch comedy.
Nope.
I don't like to watch Letterman. I did the Letterman show so many times, whatever it was, 25 or something, And it's always high pressure. And Dave was always so crazy, although so good to us. But it was all like musical chairs there, everything's edgy. And I had great experiences there. And certainly without Letterman, you wouldn't have Penn and Teller.
Right.
He was very, very supportive. He was wonderful. But everything was edgy, So I didn't want to watch. My next guest deserves needs no introduction.
Deserves no introduction. Get out.
And I didn't want to watch it for every sort of reason. Just not the kind of thing I watch to relax. But I was in bed, and I was there on my Netflix. Big old beard right in my face. So I hit the button. Thought, well, I'll watch a little bit of this, get the vibe. And Letterman came out with that big old beard and with a kind of style that was so much not smarmy at all. Just so kind of about himself. He was so kind of real.
Yeah.
And does these little jokes. And then Barack Obama comes out. And I, for the life of me, could not remember what I disagreed with Barack Obama. I didn't agree with Obama on anything.
Right.
I fought Obama tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I listened to him and went, there's a few differences between us. He's a better person and he's smarter. Those are the only two I can think of right now.
Right.
He was a level of charming, kind, gracious, magnanimous, honest. It was. I said, well, why isn't that guy president? I think that
He spoke at one point with a humility about his success that was both like a barb at current politicians, but in the nicest way.
Well, it's amazing. I talked to Mike Nesmith about this.
Yeah.
And Mike Nesmith said that he has curated a collection of very, very, very successful people.
Yeah.
He's had long, long talks with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and all those guys. And he said every one of them talks with fear and reverence about luck.
Yeah.
Bill Gates knows guys smarter than him, who work harder than him, who had a better plan than him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He knows that. And Nesmith was saying, we were saying together, that it seems like the most damning thing, the most damning quality in the person is when they don't see that.
Yeah.
Pretty plain.
I mean, Trump seems to totally dismiss the fact that his dad left him all that money.
Yes.
Totally dismiss that.
Yeah. There are no circumstances of birth in his life.
Yeah.
And has a walking resume of wavering truths the moment you doubt him, he has like a resume in his head to shout at you that he deserves every single thing he has.
Yeah. And the resume is full of things that are at best luck.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of them just didn't happen at all.
And it was amazing that they chose to close on Obama talking about how lucky he was. You know.
Yeah.
And then Letterman coming in over the top, going on, you know, with Obama saying, with no false humility,
Yeah.
you know, pretty much. I mean, I won't quote him, but I'm smart. I had some good ideas. I worked hard, but
Yeah.
boy, luck. And
Yeah.
Letterman going, well, you know, I'm just luck. And then that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ending of them coming out, going the wrong way, and Letterman saying, have your Secret Service guys beat up these cameramen, get them out of here.
Yeah.
And Obama going, no, we know what they want. They want us to come out and go the right way so they can have their poignant ending. And then he puts his hand up around Letterman's waist as they're walking into the sunset. But boy, and I can't think of anything more damning to Trump than Obama being that measured
just
and
lovely.
humble.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It is. It was a painful reminder of
Just
saner
kind of call some
times.
attention to the way things are currently.
And then Letterman being obsessed with John Lewis.
Yeah.
You know, you said before we came on that that all you need is Trump attacking McCain and John Lewis, and he can no longer be president.
Right.
You don't need anything else that he's done.
Yeah.
His attacks against John Lewis were amazing.
Amazingly incorrect. You know, just to
How
refresh everyone's
unusual-
memory.
unusual.
Yeah, no, I mean, to refresh everyone's memory, you know, John Lewis was pissed at Trump and said, I'm not going to go to the inauguration. And he goes, fine, you just sit while I actually do work. What have you ever done? You know, lazy Congress or something like that along those lines. And then it just cuts to him marching next to Martin Luther King and like telling the story of how they created votes rights
And
acts,
being Billy Club.
and being Billy Clubbed and beaten to death by, not to death, but beaten within an inch of his life by.
And also knowing he had a very good chance of dying
Yeah.
for something he believed in.
And even John Lewis' response was, when you read Trump's tweet, what was that like? He said, I had an executive meeting with myself. I loved that. Again, saying so much without getting into it. I loved it.
And, you know, Letterman being honestly humbled by civil rights
Yeah.
was really something to see. I mean, that's not a Letterman issue.
No,
It's
and
not a topical issue.
and-
It's something he seemed to sincerely care about.
And it also in the Letterman interview. So this is the Letterman interview on Netflix for everybody, since we're talking so much
Yeah.
about it. But that he felt the need to talk about what he was doing instead of marching.
Yeah.
Instead of, he could have just stayed there as a journalist and been like, I'm just going to take myself out of the story and make sure that. But I think it's like a personal note to himself that he couldn't sit there as if he was on the right side the whole time and right there with him. You know, like I think I would be, if I was a podcaster, just staying out of the way of that. But the fact that he dove in to make sure is like, no, I was not doing that. I was getting drunk and partying. You know, was interesting.
Yeah, it was just, it was just two good men.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And also that great misunderstanding that Obama engineered, the misunderstanding. I couldn't have another term because, you know, without the Constitution, we'd have Michelle. And everybody thinks, well, that means Michelle would run for president. And no.
No.
He meant without the Constitution, Michelle would stop me. which is wonderful.
I did love that. I don't believe Michelle Obama has any ambitions to run for president.
I don't think so. But I'll tell you, I think you know, these stories we tell ourselves that make us who we are, and I maybe have to let go of, you know, I don't watch comedy, I don't do this, I don't do that, because there's
Right.
such wonderful stuff.
The stuff Letterman's doing, this is doesn't seem like it's a comedy show.
No.
This is just him coming back and talking from his heart. He took a few years off and thought about what he wanted to do and came back and did it.
But I don't know if I want to see him talk to George Clooney. Do you?
Well,
I want to see what it is now.
only because of the way he's curating it, right? Like basically Letterman is like, I'll do this once a month, and I'm not going to let a booker hook in one guy so I can talk to another guy. You know, like the late night games is that kind of thing. You publicist, you have to figure out all these things. And he's like, no, once a month, and I talk to whoever the fuck I want to talk to, and that's it.
But he didn't. He got his third choice, not his first two. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. First choice was Trump. Second choice was Kim Jong Un. Kim Jong Un. Yeah.
Yeah, Kim Jong Un. Yeah.
Those are his first two choices that he wanted to have on the show to talk for an hour.
Well, they just wanted to see what the show's going to be like. They'll probably agree to it now.
Trump talking to Letterman would have been interesting.
Yeah, they have such a long history,
Yeah.
and Letterman. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he would. I think. In fact, I think that's the only person I want to see interview Donald Trump.
But I spent a lot of time
Yeah.
saying strongly that the people against Obama and people who and Trump's rise really had nothing to do with racism. And I think I may have been wrong. I mean, like wrong E.W. Wrongenstein.
Yeah.
That level of wrong. Like my name should be now wrong E.W. Wrongenstein.
For so long, people have been hiding their racism
Yeah.
that we lost the sense that it was there.
I think you also lost the sense of that, like people who stand to gain organizationally from things would motivate. Do you know what I'm saying? So all of these white hate groups that were kind of fringe used whether you know what I mean, like they manifested the lie of having a black president means we're going to have crazy white supremacists, and the white supremacist group were like, yeah, we can use this to you thought it would just kind of when you first hear that you think of like the general casual racist will suddenly feel fear and then rally. You don't think that there's an organization that says, oh, I can turn this into something that I can get people motivated by, and I think that's the miss on it.
And more of the proof all the time, and I learned this with my family, and I learned this in business.
Yeah.
Whenever someone says they're not something, they're just telling you what they are. Matt, I don't want to be mean.
Oh, no.
But, right?
I just got one of those emails right before I went on air.
My favorite one is what happens to me all the time in Hollywood meetings. Penn, we're not going to make you jump through hoops. But they tell you exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And my family, that's all they do.
Yeah.
That's all my wife and children do.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm not going to just ask you to give me money, but
right. Well, even what you're saying with, it's a huge thing. When I work with the corporate workshop stuff, we go, and it's telling people to yes and all that stuff is a little fruity. But when you talk about the power of but, and I always, whenever I teach that, I always say like, what's anyone here of military training? And usually one or two do. And I say like, you're not allowed to use the word but when you communicate from the field. Is that correct? And they say, yeah, no, we're not allowed to use that in communication.
You're not?
No.
Why?
It confuses the information. Linguistically, the word but dismisses everything that comes before it in everyone's mind.
Uh-huh.
So to go into the fruity workshop thing would be like
go into the fruity workshop thing. I want to learn about this.
So if I say let's say I'll do it. So all you think of an item you'd bring to a picnic, okay? Okay. And so I say, okay, I'm gonna bring some sandwiches, and you say yes and.
Yes, and I'm gonna bring some fried chicken.
Okay, great.
Yes, and I'm gonna bring some ants because it'll be funny.
Okay, great. So now keep those same choices. Say the word yes with me. Mm-hmm. Only you change your and to but.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a picnic. I'm gonna bring some sandwiches.
And I'm gonna bring some fried chicken.
But I'm gonna bring some ants because it'd be funny.
And so it feels like you've dismissed everything that we're trying to bring to the picnic.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So.
And how does it work in the military?
Well, you can't.
We're gonna drop bombs on the enemy, but not yet.
But if you're saying they're coming to us from this side, but we're also doing this. Well, then what do you want me to do? How do you want me to help you? How do you want me to go into things? So you can't. It ends up qualifying.
Now, in your
information.
day-to-day life, do you use butt much? I don't mean sexually.
Yeah. I honestly try to eliminate it as much as I can. And I have used it in an actual accurate, like high-stakes corporate environment and have it be successful. And I do watch it when I talk to my children.
You have used it at a butt?
No, I've gone using that technique, like make sure I don't, like often just skipping the butt and saying what you're saying often makes both the information have more impact. So I have worked in real life situations eliminating that.
Okay. But we are not, just to make this very clear,
Yeah.
we're not saying anything against butt sex.
No. Yes. we are pro.
Okay.
If anything, we are pro. Yeah.
I have a car, a Tesla.
Yeah, you got a fancy rich guy car finally.
fancy
Really
car.
fancy car. I'm really fancy car. I'd never had a car in my life that cost over 30 grand. I've had a Bronco, I've had Minis, and I've had Volkswagens
Yeah.
and a Leaf. It's all I've ever had. Those are the only cars I've had in my adult life, you know. And so before that, I had used cars that were even cheaper. And I was very excited to have new cars that were cheap. And I always thought I was going to have the people's car, the Volkswagen.
Yes.
You know, like the people's key. It's
Yeah.
F. If you can't play an F major, you're not playing for the people. So all of a sudden, I decided to get a Tesla.
Yeah.
And this Tesla drives itself. I mean, I go to work, I hit the buttons, and I have to keep my hands on the wheel and I watch. I don't text too much during it, but it drives me to work pretty much.
That's fantastic.
Does a great job. And if I want to park, it'll park itself. I can park outside the garage, close the door, and it pulls itself in right where it's supposed to be.
Wow.
Parks. It'll back into any place. It'll also pull out of the parking space so I can open the doors easier and get in. It's called Summon, has all these things. Now, Teller got a Tesla, and I consider Teller to be a very bad driver. I consider Teller to be a bad driver because he is. And when we worked on Sin City Spectacular, we had nothing but bad drivers.
Yeah.
Coleman DeKay, very bad driver. Michael Goudot, not a good driver.
No.
Not a good driver. Georgie Bernasic, amazingly bad driver. If she's going to make a turn to the left, she will be in the right lane. Coleman DeKay will be always cleaning burning cigarettes off his lap while he's driving, looking straight down. Teller, no idea of how momentum works.
Right.
Has to correct every instant on the car. Also doesn't understand how gas pedals work. Everything's jerky, nothing's smooth. And I made fun of him because he got his Tesla, and within a week, he knocked off the mirror and it had whiskey dents all over it. And I laughed and laughed and laughed and said, that's Teller. Teller's a bad driver. So I consider myself a below average driver, an above Teller driver. That is where I've lived in my life so far. You know, that's
Right.
that's where I feel I am. So the other day, now a Tesla has a rear camera and LiDAR,
Yeah, whatever one of those.
whatever that is. The stuff that if you watched
Sure.
Black Mirror, the metalhead thing, the stuff the dogs have, where it makes a map of the world. You can see the other cars. It tells you every fender, how
Yeah.
far things are from you. It does everything.
Cross
It'll
traffic.
back out
Yeah,
itself.
it's aware of all those things.
Does everything. Does everything. It's really hard to have an accident in this. And I go out to my car, and I pick up the garage door, and I have all these things to stop me from doing anything. And I put it in reverse, and I back directly into my wife's car. She was parked in the driveway, and I didn't look, and I go out in the driveway. That's what I do. Smash the car. And in that moment, you could say, well, Penn, you had a brand spanking new Tesla, most expensive car you've ever owned, most expensive car anyone has ever owned. I mean, just stupid expensive car. It's a beautiful car. It's beautiful. And you just smashed it up. How do you feel? And I said to myself, I feel bad that I can no longer make fun of Teller in good conscience. That was a big part of what I enjoyed about life, and that's gone.
You were positive you were better than Teller,
Yeah, and this is
and reality has bit you in the ass.
I'm a worse driver than Teller. And then my wife came out and did something that she's phenomenal at. I texted, "I just hit your car," and she and Moxie came out, and I said, "I just hit your car and did damage to your car into my car." And she said, I said, "So there's no structural damage. I'll have to get your car out of the way, and then I'll go on to work." And she said, "Are you sad? Are you sad?" I said, "No, I'm doing fine. It's just an accident. It's fine. I didn't see the car. Are you upset? I mean, that's your brand new car that you just smashed up. Are you upset?" I said, No, I'm fine. Things happen, and you can't get hung up in that. It's just things. And my life's going well, and I'm just going to back out and go to work, and I'll be fine." She said, "No, I would think you're not sad. I'm worried that you're sad." I said, "I am now." But it did take her 3 rounds. Took 3 rounds, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Usually you can turn me around in 1, But I stayed. I did a little bit of rope-a-dope. But the KO came in the 3rd round.
Sure.
Yeah. When I did feel bad about smashing my car.
Can I soften this a little bit?
Yeah.
This isn't the first accident you've had
No.
at your new house.
No, it isn't.
How many have you had?
Why would that soften it?
Well, you'll see.
Okay. I with my Leaf, I backed. I was in the car with Christy. Christy.
Yamaguchi.
No. But Pitchford, Christy Pitchford. She was out visiting us. Of Gearbox. And there was a car parked in the driveway, and I was coming out, and I said to Christy, "My car will not fit in the space that I'm going to drive it through now." And she said, "No, I don't think it will." I said, I can't imagine it will, so I'm going to drive through there, and I will hit the wall of our house, and I will smash up the back of my car." And she said, "Yeah, I think you will. I don't see how it's going to fit through." I said, "I can't see how it will. It won't." But I said, "I don't feel like getting out of the car to move the other car, so I'm going to give it a try." And and Christy said to me, "I've never seen anybody have an accident like that. I've never seen anybody
Insist on having one accident?
insist.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Rather crash than get out of the car for a sec.
hoping for a miracle. I mean, I guess that's what I was doing. This is a guy whose life has been so privileged and so lucky that when he does stupid things, they often turn out okay.
Right.
So I've learned that. So I go, well, I'm going to probably hit, but okay, we'll go. And it smashed it up bad. And then I argued very strongly to my wife to not get it fixed. And she wouldn't hear of it.
Yeah.
But then another time I was coming in, and my friend Gene Kelly, his car was parked. And I said, "Oh, there's not enough room to drive in there. There's just not enough room. I bet I'll hit the mailbox on the back door." And I went in and...
You hit the mailbox on the back door.
Yeah, so there's
Nice.
a big slam there. So,
That's 2.
yeah, so what is your point?
My driver's ed instructor would want us to correct this from accidents to collision, by the way.
Yes, okay.
So how many collisions did you have in the slammer driveway?
Gary Stockdale had a rental car. And this was also, Gary Stockdale was a little surprised. Everybody's surprised me during collisions because I have a different way, I think, of acting about collisions than maybe some other people.
Yeah.
I opened the driveway door, gunned it, backed out directly into his rental car, smashed them both. He went, went to get out of the car. I said, what are you doing? He said, "I was going to get out of the car." I said, what's to find out? What's there to learn? We were going to go to dinner. Let's go to dinner. So I pulled in and then backed around his car. And he goes, "How much damage is done to my?" I said, I don't know. I don't know how much damage is done to your car. He said, "How much damage is done to you?" I said, "I don't know." And we drove to dinner and came back. And I called at my office and said I smashed Stockdale's rental car I don't know what I have to do, but do something. That was the only one, I think.
And you lived there for how long?
I lived there for 20 years.
So I've made my point, right?
I'm doing more collisions now than I was before.
Yes,
Why does that soften it?
because it's not you; it's the driveway.
Ah,
There we go.
the driveway is difficult. I have a difficult
You
driveway.
do have a difficult driveway.
And I also have a deep problem with it's when I play pool too. You know, if I don't see a shot right away, I just hit the white ball as hard as I can.
So it's definitely not an accident. It's definitely a collision.
I'd like to amend my comment. It's both you and the driver.
But that's the way I've lived my life. You know, when I have an impasse, I pick a direction and run.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't go. I don't try to fix what's going to happen. I'm willing to take. You know, it may be that I am too good at accepting the worst case scenario.
Right.
It may be that I'm too good at accepting failure. Because I don't, you know, Stockdale would carry on about that. Gary Stockdale is the guy who did the music for Sensei Spectacular and the music for Bullshit. He's a great musician, Gary Stockdale. There's a new record out. You should get it. It's good. And he thought that the way I react to bad things happening, it also disconcerts my wife.
Yeah.
You know, I accept bad things happening instantly. You know, my dad was blind. You know, the nurses told him he was blind, and he was making jokes within a half an hour.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I am now.
Yeah.
My family, especially my dad, I really got that from him.
Yeah.
You know, oh, that blew up. Now, let's see where we're going to go now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember how last week we were talking about your plaster mold of your head?
Yeah, yeah,
How did you breathe if there weren't straws in your nose?
through my nose.
Through your nose, you were just able to do it.
Yeah, they just put the stuff around. They put the gunk around my nose.
Because I brought mine,
What the heck?
and there are straw holes in it.
Let me see. There are straw holes.
There are definitely straw holes in it.
What? They said I made that up.
Well, now we've got them where we want them. Those bastards.
We'll see them back in court.
yeah.
Play it to a camera, so
I just
we'll have
realized that
definitive proof you can point him to.
Can you see it? Where's
And we are broadcasting live on YouTube.
it's for those of you who want to come in?
Yeah, I got it.
Got it. There it is. See, I have straw holes in,
So,
in my face mask.
Vincent Van Dyke
Vincent Van Dyke.
is the name of the fellow who did my cast and who said there weren't straws in the nose.
Well, Vincent on the phone.
Well, there weren't straws in my nose.
Right.
He did it. He said,
But he said there was no evidence of it, and there were no straw, and he couldn't find any photos of it. So
no, there you go.
there
There's
we
some
go.
evidence.
There we go.
Vincent Van Dyke, you liar.
You bastard.
But I don't know if I should have mentioned I was getting a cast in my head.
Well,
Has your wife ever gotten any accidents at your house?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
She backed an RV into our house.
An RV?
Yeah, but she plays it differently than I do. She is so upset that you calm her down.
Ah.
You have to tell her it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing. That's not the way I play it. I play it so that people think, boy, we should comfort him.
Yeah.
I require no comforting.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with pretty much whatever happens to me.
Yeah.
I went looking for. I wanted to try a silent retreat.
Mm-hmm.
So I typed in silent retreat around Vegas into my computer because I read Sam Harris and I'm reading all my Zen books and I've been meditating now for over 2 years without missing a day.
Wow.
And I want to do a day or two of complete silence with no electronics, no nothing, no communication. Just I want to sit. And so every place I looked up for silent retreat was scheduling difficult for me, and it was all of them were filled with supernatural stuff. I didn't want to
Of
do
course,
God
Right,
stuff.
right, right.
So I wrote to my buddy Sam Harris. I said, Sam, I want a silent retreat. Well, what do I do? And he said, search for this, this, and this. And I searched for it. And I said, oh, these 2 places, well, they look good, but a lot of Buddhist God stuff. And he said, you just have to ignore that. You'll be fine.
Right.
And I went, okay, how long do you want to go for? And I said, I can probably only go for 2 days, and maybe not even that. And he said, well, I always tell somebody, if they're not going to do 5 days of a silent retreat, don't do it.
Really?
Because the first 3 days are the hardest. You get nothing out of it. Those are really hard. It's the next 2 days you actually learn something. So it's kind of like what Cray Ray says about fasting.
Right.
You know, first 3 days are the hardest, and then it gets really, really easy. And so he said, I suggest you find a beautiful room at Big Sur
Yeah.
where the ocean and everything's around, and just shut up for 2 days. So just go there and shut up is all you got to do. You don't need classes or anything. Just go and shut up and walk and think. And I said, well, you know, I really like to write. You know, I like to write. And if I weren't on Wi-Fi and weren't communicating with anyone and weren't talking, could I still write? And Sam Harris wrote back, do whatever you want. So when you start pushing someone who knows things and you get that answer, do whatever you want, means you're not listening to me. You don't care. I believe that's the Zen default answer.
Well, I have the same question. I was curious about those questions. Is it the same that he lost his his patience with you?
He may not have. It may have been real patience.
Yeah.
To those of us who are hung up, it seems loss of patience.
Yeah.
I would like to do, if I had my absolute druthers, if I had, you know, if I would prioritize my time in such a way, I would like to do 15 days of no eating, no talking. 15 days of just water and silence. I think I would really enjoy that. They've just offered me a metric shit ton of money to go on one of these English survival shows where I'm for 4 weeks, I'm dropped off on an island with other 2-bit celebrities and have to live for 4 weeks. And I, you know, and it's where you eat bugs and lizards. And I wrote to Cray Ray, and I said, because he has a chapter in his book that'll never come out, that's called Don't Eat the Lizard.
Yeah.
It's about these survival shows. And I said, can I go 4 weeks without eating a thing? Not a thing, not 1 calorie in. He said, first 3 days, 4 days, really tough. He said, and then nothing for the rest of the time. You'll have no problems, just a lot of energy and feeling great. He said, you'll lose 0.9 pounds a day.
Mm-hmm.
He said, so 4 weeks, you'll come in at 25 pounds lighter, which puts you right to your high school weight, which is where you should be. He said, so this horrible monstrosity you'll be going through would actually be just healthful. And then he said, but bugs are going to bite you, and that'll be awful.
They are going to bite you, and you're going to get sunburn. Yeah.
I mean, sunburn, they don't give you clothes?
It depends on which show it is, but yeah.
This is the Bear show?
Bear Grylls?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is he doing a 28 day? I know he does short trips with celebrities where he takes people out for 2 days and they climb up things and rappel off of things.
I don't know.
But I don't know. I don't know him doing an extended version.
But we're talking about doing it. But nobody wants me to. My family doesn't want me to, you know. Just, I have to, you can't talk to your family for 4 weeks.
That's tough.
Yeah. And but I, you know, if I had my druthers, I would do a 2-week
Right.
retreat, and not eat, and not speak, and meditate and think. And
I like that. I like that short one. I like 28 days. I don't know if I'd like
28 minutes.
2 weeks.
No.
You do 2 weeks.
I think I would. I think I'd do exactly that. I think knowing that the first part's the hard part, I think I would just
We do it as a
chill into the other.
podcast.
This is another. There's another hour and a half of us not talking.
So, yeah, episode 16.
Silent Retreat episode 16. Number 1 on iTunes. People just doing it with us. I listen to your silence and I go silent.
So I was on Pete's Crashing, Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
I was the closing show of Black Mirror and the opening show of Crashing.
That's a good
Big
showbiz
season
week.
for you.
A very good showbiz week. And, did you see the Black Mirror that I did?
No, because I want to
Not
watch
yet,
the whole
no.
season in order.
I watched the whole season in order, and it's good. It's really great. Some of the ideas are similar to ideas he did before,
Right.
which people attack him for. But I think that exploring, Kurt Vonnegut,
Yeah.
it's,
Right.
same four ideas. It's just different, Nicholson Baker, same ideas.
Yeah.
Herman Melville, same ideas. You get one or two great ideas in your life, you're set,
And that you have this creative brain that keeps seeing the dominoes fall in different directions, and you
Yeah.
want to follow those specific things.
But it's a really good season. And Rolo Haynes, who is the head character in Black Museum, it's the character I really, really, really wanted to play.
Yeah.
And the actor they got is better than me, so I don't feel that bad.
Right.
He's just a really, really good, strong actor,
Mm-hmm.
and he's great. And he's wearing my pinky ring, and
Does he issue a federal court order or no?
no, he doesn't. But his accent, he's not as American as me.
Okay.
And his even his American accent is not right for Carney talk. Some of the
Yeah.
words are okay, but the phrasing. But he's really good. He's fabulous. And my story, The Pain Addict, is a really good story. And I thought it was a really good story. And then I saw what Charlie did with it. It wasn't a really good story. It was an okay story. It's a really good story when Charlie's done with it. I had two disagreements with Charlie that I still maintain.
Mm-hmm.
One was Charlie very much wanted the pain addict when he jacked into. It's about sharing other people's pain.
Yeah.
Little thing in your head you can share other people's pain. He wanted you would share other sensations, so you could experience people coming. So you could have sex and have her orgasm and his feel the same thing all the way through. He really wanted that. I didn't. I wanted just focused on pain. He wanted it so that he would be jacked into someone when they died. And when they died, it would be this whole different thing he would experience, and that would rewire his brain. Now, I believe those are really, really good ideas for Black Mirror.
Right.
But for my thinking, I wanted the idea to be just that the pain itself you get addicted to because it shuts out the mundane. And that was my whole obsession with it.
Yeah.
So Charlie took it other places that I think perhaps are more, definitely more interesting for television. And I think mine might still have some validity in literature. So in a couple years, I may write some more stuff about it when I'm allowed to.
Crashing, your episode was directed by my friend Ryan McFall.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
And I wrote him. I saw
I
him
know
in the
that?
credits. Well, you said Judd Apatow was on set and Judd did a lot of the talking.
Yes, he did.
So I don't know, but I wrote him and let him know full well that I work for you and with you and that you're a friend of mine. But I didn't want any. But he wrote back kindly. I just said that because I was like, he wrote Penn was great. He's so well spoken. The whole scene with Pete was unscripted and it was amazing to be able to capture something so genuine and rich.
Good.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah, I do remember him. I do remember
Yeah.
other than Judd.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was really fun to do that. And then we're going to be playing very shortly, next week, I think. We're going to be playing the entire Pete Holmes interview that we did. I did his podcast. It was also my podcast.
Oh,
So
awesome.
we'll put that on, I think, next week because we have to shoot the Gearbox stuff.
I mean, because it's for television, so they edited your scene down to like 5 minutes. Did you see it?
I know.
First off, you were great. And not just as a representative of you and your perspective, but you were actually like a very comfortable actor on camera. And it was neat to see that because they cast a lot of comedians playing themselves in the thing, and some comedians are really comfortable playing for camera, and some aren't. And so there's this immediate dismissal of a bunch of comedians at the table, and you come strolling in. And I thought it was such a neat departure to see a bunch of people who no, the camera's on me. I said my line, adios, right?
Yeah.
And then you actually felt like you really kind of like used the space. It was nice. I thought you did a good job.
Where did the misuse of the word cameo start? All these people on Twitter saying, I really liked your cameo in Crashing. That was not a cameo.
No, it was a whole scene, and it was a seminal scene for the season.
Think it means just celebrity appearing in a show now.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
That's what it means now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it
'cause
started with the funk band.
you think cameo, put that over the top,
Yeah, anytime you're wearing a cod piece on stage.
is a good day.
But I think it's funny is that I was mad that you had answered something better to Pete Holmes than you ever have on this podcast.
You were?
Yeah. What's the belief of you? I might as well believe in God. The something gamble, something bargain.
Pascal's wager.
Pascal's wager. Mm-hmm. And you guys both know this argument, but you've never said it because you feel like you're talking to the converted already. But the way you said it to Pete, I was like, oh, that's the way I want to talk to people when they bring it up. Why hasn't this been on our podcast?
Well, you should check out the first episode of season 2 of Crashing.
Yeah.
It goes much too long. They went much longer than they were supposed to on that scene.
Yeah.
And it's still, Pete Holmes was very disappointed because they cut it in half from what he wanted. And I believe when we play it next week, we will have the opening will be the long scene.
Oh, neat.
The whole thing uncut, the way Pete wanted it to go.
Good.
So Crashing in Black Mirror, I really couldn't be much happier.
Yeah.
2 good shows, and I'm well represented. And I have a promise that seems good that I will be in the next season of Archer.
Wait a minute.
I'm very excited about that.
Now I hate you.
Yeah, very excited about that.
That was good reading, though. You could be an archer if you can read like that. Now I hate you.
Yeah, so I will. I believe in his style. I'll be playing Penn Jillette. I hope so.
Oh, God.
And I can't imagine how they will brutalize me in Archer, but
The rhythm of that show, I love the writing and rhythm of that show so much.
it's so fabulous. Archer. You know, once again, I don't like watching comedies as a rule. Archer makes me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's just an extraordinary cast. But what is Adam Reed, right? Adam
Yeah.
Reed. Adam Reed's writing is out of this world. And the way I got the part was I wrote to them and asked if the Gillette character was named after me.
Yeah.
He said no. Not even close, didn't cross our minds.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the first name is the name Teller was born with. It
Yeah.
hasn't used it for a long time.
Yeah.
And the last name is my last name. So I thought, oh, that's a Penn and Teller reference. It's not. that hurt me. I was very happy about that, and then I wasn't.
But it wasn't an accident. It was a crash.
Collision.
It was a collision.
Here's a New Year's resolution you can actually keep, Matt Donnelly.
All right. I'll write it down.
Add stamps.com to your business and save a ton of time and money this year.
I nailed it. I already nailed my New Year's
We
resolution.
are all over this.
Crushed it.
Stamps.com brings all the amazing services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your computer. Stamps.com is the better way to get postage. Simply use your computer to print official U.S. postage for any letter or package, any class of mail, and let the mailman pick it up. Let the mail carrier pick it up. No leaving the office, no more lugging mail to the post office, no more hassles. Didn't you have a lot of stuff to send out for Scoops?
I'm actually next week. All my Hill Bill deliverables are going out, but it's all set up with stamps already. Already ready to knock it out. I just got to stuff the envelopes. It's
Really?
going out. Yep.
Nice.
And you
If it were not for stamps.com, I would not be even close to doing that.
you'd have to bring in George Stephanopoulos
I would.
to stuff in envelopes.
It is crazy. Yeah.
And your mail carrier will come in,
Yeah. I hope so.
and you like your mail carrier.
Yeah. I'm in the shower.
Now, how many
I'll shave.
boxes will this be?
There's about 150 pieces of mail going out.
Wow. Yeah. And will your mail carrier complain?
No.
I don't know.
No.
Load in the back?
They'll know. They'll ask me, what do you got? And I'll tell them, and they'll say, okay. And then they'll come, and I'll try to make conversation. They'll say, I'm busy. I have a long day. And then they leave, and then my heart breaks as they drive away.
But the work is done.
The work is done.
But the emotional crushing will go on.
Yeah. That's 2019's New Year's resolution, is the emotional stuff.
Almost everything you can do at the post office, you can do right from your desk. Plus, Stamps.com has postage discounts you can't get at the post office. Not to mention Oh, I guess I shouldn't mention that. Stamps.com sends you a digital scale that automatically calculates exact postage. You'll never overpay or underpay for postage again. Create your Stamps.com account in minutes online with no equipment to lease and no long-term commitments. Say it with me. No long-term commitments. Do we have Randy's punch on this?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, dang it.
I use Stamps.com for everything.
I mean,
The
yes,
office.
of course we do.
And right now, you too can enjoy Stamps.com service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Ready for a Happy New Year? Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the home page, and type in.
Penn.
You don't have to do that because we're going to put Randy. And that was Randy doing the high part
Nice.
on the pen thing. So type in Penn. That's Stamps.com. Enter. You'll lay that in later. But it's Penn that's going to lay in there.
Do we want to do one with these 4 guys?
Yeah.
Godot has to go first, otherwise we'll get like a 7th in there.
Okay.
Penn.
Penn.
Penn. Penn.
Godot does the 7th?
He goes where he wants.
We'll get
Yeah.
some sort of augmented chord or something.
What's that joke with the band leader and the singer?
Oh, I love that joke. Okay, we're going to do Autumn Leaves. We're going to start out with the second verse in D flat, and then we will do go halfway to the bridge, take the bridge up a minor second, do the second half of the bridge first half of the bridge second, then we'll go to the third verse, do the third verse all the way through in F sharp, and then the last verse take from the fourth verse, and then finish on the first verse halfway through in G. And the lead singer says, I can't do that. And he goes, you did it last night. So that's good. Come in on an augmented fourth chord.
That's right. Keeping it jazzy.
Keeping it jazzy. So, should we get into this now? I bought a couple cases of manted eggs.
Yeah. How
What?
many did you get?
You can buy, it's the best bargain on the web for $5 or $15 maybe. You can buy 2 manted egg cases for praying mantises or praying mantids. And they're made to be put in the garden, so these killing machines take your garden stuff. But I have a big terrarium that has frogs and lizard stuff in it. And I said to my tank guy, he's a friend of mine who sets stuff up, Corey Noodleman, I think, who
right.
does all these fabulous. He took us to one of his jungle displays,
Wow.
and he does the greatest work ever. He does this. So my tank is always really interesting, as you know when you come to my house. The tank's great. I said I want some insects in there, and I wanted leaf insects. And he said, no, you can't have leaf insects. We have the most interesting plants in the world in there. Some of them from all over the world. We have tiny ferns and orchids. No, they'll eat it. So I said, how about mantids? Because they eat nothing but live animals. He said, okay. So I bought 2 egg casings, and they opened. And baby mantids are the cutest thing in the world. You know what a 4-inch praying mantis looks like? It's a monster. It's a killing machine.
Yeah.
But when they're like 1/4 of an inch long, and they look exactly like that. They're beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like you're standing really far away from it.
And 50 come out of each egg. You get 2 egg cases.
What?
And then the frogs
For
and lizards.
$9.49.
$9.49. And then the frogs and lizards eat them.
Okay.
Okay. But if one of them makes it away, he can grow big enough he can actually eat the frog. Someday the frog eats you. And but so they all were out. We were all very excited. But most of them have been taken out by the frogs. We also have little flightless fruit flies that they can catch and eat.
Is that like a high-end meal for them to get like a baby mantid? Is that like a surf and turf to the frog?
I would think so. I would think it's a pretty good
A
thing.
lot of micronutrients they don't normally get.
Yeah, like
Very
they must have been
healthy.
like, frogs would be like, is this really happening? 50 of these things?
They're coming from over here, guys.
What a day.
Yeah, get them fresh. So we're going to pull out. I bought 5 more egg cases. We're going to pull out,
Trying to fill the frogs up.
pull out a separate terrarium. Let them grow big enough to handle themselves, then put them in there. Because I used to have leaf insects in my home. I had a eucalyptus plant, and on the eucalyptus plant, I had a bunch of leaf insects. And boy, did I love it, you know? And I remember the guy who got me the leaf insects, Sandra, actually, she got me the leaf insects. She said they'll stay on the thing because they don't fly. And so I was sitting typing on my computer, and one of the leaf insects landed on my head. I took a picture and said, they fly. But it's very hard. It was beautiful. I had a eucalyptus plant in a pot in my office, and living on it were these leaf insects that looked just like leaves. And you go over and look at them, and it was just wonderful. I just loved every minute of it. Maybe I'll do that again. I liked it. So I have all these, and the children get very, very excited. But now they're tiny, tiny, tiny. But I think if I find a way to have mantids live in there, you can buy giant mantids. You know, there's a place called like mantids.com that sells like orchid mantids and all these things, and they get to be like 8 inches of mantid killing. You know, dragonflies and mantids are the killing machines. I mean, they make Rambo look like nothing. They can just do everything. They're just primitive. They've been working on it a long time. By the way, saying Rambo makes me think of movies. I don't know why I ever watch any movie except a movie like. Have you seen Marshall?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Marshall, Thurgood Marshall, right?
Yeah.
And
Supreme Court Justice,
Josh Gad, right? Josh Gad was in Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
He was in Frozen. He's a really funny actor. And I've met him a few times. And I got to tell you, funny actors, they seem like Jack Black to me, you know? Which Jack Black's the nicest guy in the world, but does really good work. People love him. But when I see him, it's just like, oh, he's doing that comedy thing, you know? But the story, and I guess Marshall did not do well. It didn't sell a zillion tickets, you know? But I don't want Spider-Man anymore. I don't want Iron Man anymore. When you've got people who actually lived, like Thurgood Marshall, why are we making up heroes in tights? I mean, the guy who plays Thurgood Marshall, who's also the guy who played James Brown, some other stuff, greatest actor.
Yeah.
Marcus Miller, you know, the bass player, monster bass player, does the soundtrack. And there are whole scenes where the soundtrack is upright bass. And I'm thinking, since everyone talks through bass solos anyway, what better thing to put on your dialogue? Makes the actors very, very comfortable. You know, talking over someone playing piano, that's impolite. Talking over bass sounds perfectly natural. And then Josh Gad puts in a performance. He plays the part of a coward who does not care about civil rights and grows to care tremendously about civil rights. And the postscript they put on it. Here's a guy who cares about insurance fraud and scamming. And the postscript they put on the movie says he went on to dedicate his entire life to civil rights.
Wow.
It's a story about a guy waking up, you know, and doing what he has to do. And I wrote a fan letter, because, you know, I write fan letters.
Yeah, sure.
I wrote a fan letter to Josh Gad and just said, you know, the character is, the real guy was fabulous.
Yeah.
The character they wrote in the movie is better than fabulous.
Right.
And then Josh's performance of that character is a whole other level up. He really does get you with, I mean, Thurgood Marshall, that character comes in as a genius, as a strong, powerful, wonderful person, and he stays. I mean, they do the right things about having him have doubts and all of this, and he has, we don't care about that.
Chadwick Boseman is the actor.
Yeah. Boy, he's good.
Yeah.
Oof, crazy good. And the jazz is great, and, you know, it's impossible that this is true, but it's 2018 and civil rights and racism is an issue. How is that possible? But I think Marshall, there's these movies, and I should say, because this is the way my grandmother judged movies, last 10 minutes of the movie, sobbing uncontrollably to the point that I had to go back because I couldn't see or hear the screen. And my grandmother used to say if she didn't cry at a movie, it wasn't good. And I think I may be getting like my grandmother. Apollo 13,
Yeah.
Hidden Figures, The Post, Marshall. I think these are the only movies I want to see. I am so done with movies of revenge. I don't like movies of revenge. As a matter of fact, that's my only problem with Black Mirror, is a lot of the plotting is about revenge. And the revenge is many times more horrific than the crime.
Right.
But that doesn't matter to me. I don't believe in revenge.
And there's always, as a writing device, a casualty to the revenge before it gets finished, It's like the guy who helped out, suddenly something happens to that guy because he was helping out the revenge plot. And you're always like, not worth it. I mean, every time I see that, I'm always like, not worth it.
Yeah.
As soon as I see any casualties of the revenge plot, then it was the wrong thing to do. It drives me crazy.
Your best friend has to die for you to get this
Exactly, yeah.
revenge.
So I'm trying to avenge my wife's death, but then my friend, my doctor, the chauffeur, just fucking gets it. You're like,
Yeah, but not to mention in the other stuff where they're jumping on cars in Times Square and firing machine guns. And there's a guy going to get a donut. And that's okay because we got to get to the 8-armed guy who's flying. Collateral damage.
oh, I know.
Well, it's, once again, I haven't mentioned Bob Dylan yet, so I might as well go to Pinker.
Oh, yeah.
Steven Pinker talks about the pacifist's dilemma. It's very easy to prove that if you go to war with somebody and you win, you are worse off than if you didn't go to war.
Right.
If you're in a fight, if you're in a fight in a bar, and if you win that fight, you're worse off than you didn't fight.
Yeah.
So the only logic is to, even if you lose something, to take that hit, to not go into a fight, not go into war. And revenge is the dumbest. Revenge is the dumbest of all. I saw The Foreigner with Jackie Chan because I love Jackie Chan.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Jackie Chan, to me, is the only one of those kick-ass guys who is affable while he's doing it. He almost looks like he doesn't really want to kick you in the face.
Right.
He's just doing it. Always
You're right.
smiling,
You're
always
right.
happy. I love that Jackie Chan. But, Jackie Chan's daughter gets blown up by the IRA. I don't know why he decided the enemy's the IRA of a Chinese guy, but there you go. And then he is going to avenge his daughter's death, which can't be done.
No.
Your daughter
Not
is
coming
blown
back.
up by the IRA. I think you sit down and cry forever.
Yeah.
And I think you're done. That's the only job. I don't think you say, give me the names of the people who did this.
No.
And go to find out.
I think you go like, where's a farm far away with nice weather where I don't have to talk to anyone?
Yeah.
I think that's the best revenge right there.
Maybe I'll sit and look at a praying mantis for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Watch him move. I should set up Penn Jillette's fasting silent retreat with insects to watch. Would I make $1 million?
Yes.
Just a ton. Welcome. Your bunk's in there. Your mantises are over there. All the mantises, in case you care, are named after the Three Stooges. So anybody you're looking at, but you're not going to say anything anyway. There's fresh water everywhere. It's a beautiful place. I'll be in to say goodbye to you in 10 days.
Any questions?
The light switch is right here.
Any questions? Tough. You can't talk. So see
If you
later.
want to leave before your 10 days, your check is cleared. You're welcome to. I would like to give you the advice of our retreat, which is Sam Harris, do what you want to do.
do what you want to do.
Now we're going to, let's stop now.
We should point out that this has no relation to your prior conversation about wanting to run a cult.
Get starving, quiet people. Yeah, we're gonna do the Wednesday show right after this,
Wednesday show.
and we're gonna talk about Cher, mostly,
Oh, yeah.
and Kentucky, which go together well, and Godot's. Oh, we already did the show and tell. We got other stuff to do. That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha cha cha.
And to our listening
you become naked. Maybe naked too. You know, maybe naked. Silent, hungry, naked, with insects to watch. You know, I'm not joking at all. I would like that so much. They say in a silent retreat, day 3, 4, and 5, you cry a lot. Have you heard that?
Not me. I have heard that.
What's the longest you've done silence, Miguel?
20 minutes.
You know we love you. I'll just pee.
If that. If 20.
Stand by for a trip into the
Is there any?
future.
Do you have any interest at all?
I would go and do it. Yeah, I would.
How about you,
It's just an
Matt?
I do. I do have interest.
We should drop acid too.
We could do that as well if you want.
Tripping insects.
It's gonna be hard to be silent. I don't know.
Compromises the whole process. That Chadwick Boseman from Marshall is the one who plays Black Panther.
I know.
He went to both Howard and Oxford.
Wow.
That blows my mind. No wonder he's so good. I was just looking him up yesterday because we were getting all hyped for Black Panther. But I know Penn doesn't want any more superhero movies.
Howard and Oxford?
Yeah.
Did he try to resolve this right here in Brainerd? Is that the first time I've ever worked a Fargo reference in a conversation?
No, but I don't catch them because I haven't seen them.
While we're waiting, just a reminder, questionpenn@gmail.com is where you want to send your mail to. People have been doing it to Facebook a lot lately, and I rarely get there to check out those mails.
Yeah, don't do that Facebook shit. Nobody. That's the worst place to communicate with anyone in terms of private messaging.
What's that?
Um,
All right, I don't need to know.
Facebook.
I've been trying to stop doing that. It takes a lot of willpower. When I walk in the room and hear the end of a conversation, to say,
Oh.
what's that about? Because if they wanted to tell you, they would.
No.
I don't mean it's secret. I just mean you're not recapitulate stuff that. Yeah.
I was telling the audience to send mail to questionpenn@gmail.com rather than Facebook.
Ah.
Then I have to mail from Facebook to Gmail, so I have a record of it and categorize it and all that stuff. It's a real pain. Times is hard. Times is hard is what I'm getting at, fellas. Some people have to shovel shit. I just have to recategorize mail.
This is Penn Sunday School, and to our listening ears, all nature sings and round us rings the music of the spheres. This is Penn Sunday School.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn's Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Godot, and along with Matt Donnelly, we are broadcasting from Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. We're going to talk about Cher's live show. Matt did a Hillbill show in Kentucky, and Godot is making My Little Pony pancakes. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
That's one for the ages.
Did he mean now?
I love you. No, I don't think he did. He has no griddle. How does he smell? Yeah, you know, I read this book called "Let's Talk About Love." It's about Celine Dion, and it had a profound effect on me. It's written exactly for me. Mentions Sun Ra and Bob Dylan, and really deals with why Celine is considered to suck by everybody, all the music snobs, and what she actually does and who she fits in with and what she is and everything. And it's a very, very profound and powerful and smart book. I love it. So I wanted to go see Celine.
Yeah.
So I talked to Glenn and Emily and I were going to go see Celine Friday night, which is a night that we're dark, and I had no other shows out of town. So I was going to see. I've been excited about this for a while. We were going to go to, Steve Wynn became plant-based.
Yes.
And so all his restaurants have a plant-based menu.
Yes.
So we're going to go to an expensive vegan restaurant.
Yeah.
So we went to the vegan restaurant in Encore that's named after his wife.
Yes. I've eaten there too.
Elaine's,
Oh.
Alana's.
I don't know.
I don't know what her name is. It's nice how I'm pretending to not know Wynn's wife's name. That's my coy little way of doing it. But we went there. I had my first Impossible Burger. Have you had an Impossible Burger?
I have not. What is that?
Have you heard about them?
No.
Well, they're all over. Even Fat Burger in L.A. is doing them. Called Impossible Burger. Now, I haven't talked to Cray Ray yet, but I don't believe it's health food.
Right.
But it's all peas and beans and good stuff, but I bet there's some salt. But I got to tell you, I don't know if I can really say this, but I'm going to consider it. I think it might be better by a lot than ground beef.
Wow.
It has no beanie taste, it is everything you like. The texture and everything is everything you like about beef.
Wow.
And it's really good. Now, I don't think it's healthful. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's probably not healthful. So if you are...
You ordered this at Andreas?
Yeah, Andreas.
So it's for ethical vegans.
I guess so. Do you want to read about the Impossible Burger there?
No, I just looked at the menu name, but I can read it for the Impossible thing.
Yeah. They have Impossible sliders on vegan rolls. So, remember when we had Juliana
Yeah.
and Cray Ray here? They said compared to what? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you compare this to a fat burger with beef, it's 1,000 times better. If you compare it with steamed vegetables, brown rice, and fruit, it's not going to hold up.
Sure, of course.
And the food did not seem oily, did not seem salty, although I was thirsty afterwards. It is saltier than when I eat at home. But the Impossible Burger is really good. You might want to get your ass one.
We gotta look them up.
Yeah, they sizzle and it has like juice in it and stuff like that, so it feels like a burger.
right.
Have you had one, Matt?
I have not had one yet.
Anywhere else in Vegas have them?
Only because if I do like a veggie burger, usually I want like an actual like black bean burger. Or
Well, that's
something
what
like
this
that.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it's black bean and stuff like that. But are you on the Impossible Burger website?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff here, but it's hard to get to the actual ingredient part.
Yeah. And there's a few places in Vegas that have it, a few places in L.A. They haven't broken in seriously yet. But it was good. It was really good. So, and Celine canceled. I guess Celine has not been feeling well, or her voice has not been feeling well, or she's on a silent retreat.
Well, that's true.
And so Matt and Sarah were going to see Cher.
You were going to see Cher
So we decided to go see
at the
Cher.
Park Theater.
Now, you had a pool with my wife, right?
Yes.
For the number of costume changes.
Yes.
You put the over-under at what?
I put the over-under at 8.5 heading into the concert.
Okay. 8.5 costume changes, and says Matt Donnelly. And my wife put it at,
She guessed 11,
and your wife,
guessed 12.
12. That's what they were. So how many costume changes do you think there were?
By 13, 15?
I went 8 and Heather went 9.
Yeah. 11. My wife nailed it exactly.
Nailed it on the nose.
On the nose. 11 costume changes.
Wow.
And I was struck. I have a party poodle dog.
Yeah.
Full-size poodle dog. And party means black and white with an eccentric poodle cut. It was remarkable to me how much Cher looked like my poodle dog. She has these big black curly wigs,
Oh,
wigs,
wig. Okay. Not
and
yours.
then this very sharp face. So she looked kind of like my poodle dog.
Right.
I even put a picture of my poodle dog next to a picture of Cher, and it holds up very, very well.
Huh.
But I mean, Cher, I think if she would consider herself a poodle, she'd be fine.
Yeah, I think
Now,
so.
what did you think of the Cher show?
I thought the concert was put on as if it was put on for me. Like, hey, Matt, you've never gotten to experience a Cher concert. We've put it together the best we can so you'd know what it feels like. So, like, Cher can't really still sing, but she does, right? And then there's a band there, and then they have some kind of giant Arabian horse ranch set to it with circus acrobats and dancers of dance to like every type of dance to every type of era, and there's a bunch of older gay men in like very expensive like velvet coats cheering and taking constant video and photos of her as she walks around. And I was like, this is what I thought it would be. This is nice.
They seem to have a bunch of rules.
Yeah,
They have IMAG, you know, which we're putting in our theater, by the way, in 2 weeks.
you are.
You know, full IMAG all over.
Wow.
Because we sell the balcony so much now
Yeah.
that we want people to be able to see everything up close.
So IMAG is for the lay people.
When you go to a show, and there are big video screens that show what's happening on stage really, really big.
Yeah.
And
Image magnification.
image magnification, IMAG. It's video, it's a visual amplification. And we were talking about the shots we're going to do, and we're going to do shots that are close-ups of us because you don't want your IMAG to be the same size as what's on stage, right?
Right.
Which a lot of people do.
They do.
A lot of people do a wide shot of the band up on the IMAG that's the same size as the band. There's no magnification, it's just a different place. But Cher, there were almost no shots of her that weren't full body shots.
Yeah.
And most of the lights are shined on the audience.
Yeah.
Huge amount of lights in your eyes. So I found, I don't have good vision, that I couldn't see the stage. Which I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of the lights are towards the audience.
I thought that was a bug, but it might have been a feature.
I believe so.
I'm saying it might
also-
it might not have actually been Cher.
It doesn't seem like Cher wants you to see her.
Okay.
There's a lot of video and a lot of stuff, and like when I meant like it was for me, like I went in there knowing 3 songs by Cher and being like, I know she's a name, but I don't know much about her. So they have like videos that show her winning an Oscar, or a bunch of video clips from her movies, or like stuff from her television shows.
Matt, she's done this.
That's exactly right. I was like, for Cher fans, they know this, right? But that's what I meant by I thought it was a concert for me. Like it was like, hey, if you're coming in the first time and you've never seen Cher,
The casual fair.
it really was. I thought
she
the concert
comes-
was completely built for the casual person who might stumble into the
She
show.
does her opening number,
Yeah.
and then she talks on stage
Oh man.
for 4 minutes.
It felt like an hour.
I know. But 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
4 or 5 minutes.
And it's rambling, and she, attacks Trump and talks about her
It's
tax
4
problems.
half stories. It added up to 2 stories. So 4 half stories will get you 2 total stories in 4 minutes. Nice.
When I saw the show,
Yeah.
she had a part where she came in on a device that hung her over the audience. She flew over the audience to land on the stage. It's a different show than you guys.
No, but she did enter on some kind of like Arabian champagne top cork thing that they flew her on.
Arabian champagne cork top. thing.
Yeah, it looked like a giant version of something you stick in the bottle of champagne so it doesn't go flat. But then it had like some weird offensive Arabian thing on the top, and then it was all glitter. And she was sitting on that, and they bring her from the ceiling from that.
When I saw that, she complained about having to ride it, about how nervous she was about riding it,
Yeah.
and about falling into the audience, and the news chyron at the bottom of the screen saying, Cher and some unknown people die. And those were her words. I was like,
Jesus.
really? Are that? Oh my gosh, that is cruel and ugly. And Maybe you thought it was going to be play funny, but boy, it didn't.
I definitely, well, the story she told was that I think it's stuff that like maybe like her closest friends and her laugh at backstage or
It was
something.
about how big her tax bill was.
That's
Yeah.
while flying in her tax bill.
But she also she wears clothes that are tremendously nude.
Yes.
But they're not because it's
right.
all
Sheer,
flesh-colored,
that kind of thing. yeah.
flesh-colored stuff. But she has her ass hanging out and her breasts exposed for the whole show,
Yeah.
virtually. And then she mentioned that she's 72 years old. And then her big line is, "What's your grandmother doing tonight?"
Yeah.
And she does these things. And I don't know. I was very surprised that she did Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves with no mention of the fact that gypsy is a racist term that should not be used.
Right.
It's,
Like by now, she must have learned, even if the time she's saying it was a catchy tune.
At what point in your career working for Cher do you say to her, "You know, that's kind of a racist term"?
Well, that's it. I guess.
You don't. You don't.
she followed it.
And you cover up everybody who says anything like that to her.
She followed it right away with half breed,
Yeah.
which at,
So
the,
she knows they go together.
at the time she did it was racist. And I was wondering what the third would be in the trilogy. I shuddered to think, shuddered to think where she was going with that. But
That was what some guy was like, "Stop, Cher, stop."
enough. Okay, good.
Stop.
This medley is fine with two.
I know I'm fired, but stop.
And she sang a little.
Yeah.
She sang mostly the Sonny and Cher stuff. And the band was playing, but there was a click track so high on top of them. Like the drummer was playing. You could hear the cymbals live, but you could also hear a lot of drum parts that he wasn't playing. And the bass player was playing, but there was a lot of stuff under her, a lot of stuff over. And I don't think that Cher sang that much. There was a few times the vocals sounded kind of weak, but I was really surprised that there weren't any lyric changes. Because, you know, I'm a Dylan fan. So Dylan thinks about his lyrics, but she was singing like on The Beat Goes On, the grocery store is a supermart, and boys, they keep on marching off to war, electronically they keep the baseball score, and the beat goes on. Is it a big deal that the baseball scores are kept electronically?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big deal. That's not the tradition.
I was surprised she didn't make any comment on any of that, you know.
Yeah.
And then she sang "I Got You, Babe" with Sonny. And I got to think, I watched the Sonny and Cher show. I would think that I could go on YouTube, and I believe in 20 minutes, I could find close-ups of Sonny's face singing "I Got You, Babe." They seem to be unable to do that. So they had not flattering shots of Sonny almost singing "I Got You, Babe." Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that video doesn't exist, but it sure seems like it would have.
I did in less than 20. Comes right up on the old search
But she
page.
talked that long monologue at the top. She talked, and then did not. I don't think she addressed the audience again. Maybe a word or two about Sonny before "I Got You, Babe," and then she was done. And then lots of her disco phase and that kind of stuff, and then a very pyrotechnic guitar solo by a long-haired guitar player that may have wanted you to bring to mind Allman. You know. Now Nate Santucci said that when he was 19, he did overhead spotlight operator for the Cher show, and he was looking straight down into where Cher did her costume changes, and he was told, "Don't look."
It's
And
a fine rule.
fine rule. But I've met Cher. I met Cher at our off-Broadway show in the 80s. And she had braces on her teeth. She was wearing like a dirty hoodie. She had her real hair. And she was charming, smart, funny, fabulous to be around. And I started thinking about, boy, would I love to see a show where Cher came out with a small band and a hand mic and sat down in a hoodie and jeans and told stories and sang some of those songs.
She's got to have great stories.
That would kill me. Well, David Brenner told me a great story. David Brenner told me this fabulous story that when Sonny and Cher were playing, he was opening for them when they played Vegas in the 60s. And afterwards, he went out by the pool to have snacks. And there were a bunch of people sitting around. And Brenner said he was holding court. He was the center of attention to Cher, Sonny and Cher and all their friends. And he was going around the table saying, I know what you do, and I know what kind of guy you are, and doing shtick on them, crowd work for just people sitting around after the show. So he picked this one guy sitting over the corner quietly, and he said, well, you're clearly the accountant. You're the money guy. You're not someone that ever speaks up. You're the one that's not artistic at this table. And he did like what he remembers is 20 minutes, but probably really was 2 minutes,
Right.
and finished up the whole thing, at which point Cher said, David, that's Bob Dylan. David said the worst moment of his life. And he said later he was sitting out by the pool, and he said Bob came over and said, that was really funny, dude. I like that. And he said, I'm so embarrassed. He goes, no, it was great. I loved it. And he said, I always loved Bob for that. Because Bob did not have to come out and tell some comedian that it was fine, it was funny. But he said it was a very embarrassing thing. So, yeah, you'd have David Brenner, Sonny and Cher, and Bob would be out there visiting him out by the pool. I think that Cher could tell great stories, have a great time. But I guess the people want, what do they want? They want...
she
big
is
wigs.
known for her costumes and her Bob Mackie dramatic costumes and things like that. And she does have songs from all these eras, which I think people are curious about. Like I said, it was really for me. I really got to know her as a one-woman show, as really, and I think that's why my wife loved it. It was like we kind of walked in being like, I know Cher's a name, but that's nice. And we walked up being like, oh, I know all this stuff about her now, and those are her hits.
I felt like people who had
So she liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
We didn't come in. We didn't come in with the I don't think a show has to be a kind of a thing. Like if I went and saw Dylan and that type of a show was put on, I would be annoyed because I would have expectations. We came in with no expectations for Cher. I mean, it was just kind of thing like it starts off with wouldn't it be funny if we went to see Cher?
Yeah.
And then it's a night out for us. And then my wife and I got to make fun of it, the stuff that we want to make fun of, and compliment the things we want to make fun of. I shift gears. I don't have, I can be blown away by one thing and the next thing just rip it apart and then be blown away again. It doesn't really bother me.
That seems like a good quality to have.
Yeah.
I do not have that quality.
No, and that's things.
I need an overall view of everything.
And my wife is with me in step, which is why I love, we loved going out that night and we loved all of it. So some things we loved the dance numbers and we were talking about stuff. Next thing I make fun of something, she makes fun of something, which is great.
Yeah, I need an overall unified field theory.
Okay.
For everything.
Yeah.
I felt like the people who had saved money and come to see Cher, who were longtime fans
Yeah.
at the show that I was at,
Yeah.
they were entirely screwed. I thought Cher was mean to them, and I thought she was unpleasant.
She was certainly not mean. Even
She was
slight.
not, no.
At
she was
ours,
not mean
at
at
ours,
all.
she was not a kind or pleasant person. And I just couldn't help think people paid $500 for this, and they're not happy.
I would say she's not happy by getting old, which I think people understand.
I like that aspect of it, and if the show had focused on that, I would have probably
For ours, I
enjoyed
think it
a
mostly
great
was.
deal.
It mostly was like, shit, I said I was going to retire. I'm not retiring, but, and I wish I still had that body, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on with her.
Usually, and you and I have just
And
talked
Dave
about this,
Letterman's an
Ben.
asshole and all that other stuff.
Yeah, she was very proud of calling Dave Letterman an asshole.
Good for her.
Which, by the way, Obama did not do.
Yeah, she was proud of. She was proud. This is of all the stories she finished out. She didn't finish out certain stories. Like she told the story about how she turned 40 twice, got the laugh, and then told one story about turning 40, and moved on.
Yeah.
There was no second part of that story. And then she bragged about not only calling Dave Letterman an asshole, but being the first one to shake them down for $28,000 to get an appearance.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's an odd thing to share with us. That's a fine showbiz story behind the scenes, But she I was like,
But one thing I learned on Celebrity Apprentice
yeah.
is that it's favored nations. Everybody gets the exact same amount of money.
Yeah.
And no one gets a penny more, no one gets a penny less, and there's no negotiation allowed. That's not true.
So they tell you that, and you go, not for us. And they go, okay, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Does that work on anybody? Does anybody fall for it?
Yes.
Non-showbiz people?
Yeah. No, showbiz people
Really?
fall for it. I fell for it until I said, "Oh, it's favored nation, so I'm cool."
Right.
And Glenn said, "Well, yeah, we'll talk."
Yeah. The first time, I mean, I never started asking for more money for anything until I had kids. And then it's so uncomfortable the first time you do it. The first time you're like, actually, I think you need to pay me this, or I can't do it. Or the first time you say, I don't care what you're paying everybody else. I need this money to do it. The first time that happens, it's so awkward. And then every other time, it's thrilling. It's just great.
I was going to say, in the past, when we've gone to see people who are showbiz legends, they've really turned out to be a lot better than we thought they were going to be.
Well, my story I always tell is Dean Martin.
Right.
I went to see Dean Martin to, kind of make fun of him.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best shows I've
Right.
ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Dean
That
Martin
was
was
me
great.
with
Charo.
Charo was an incredible show.
Barry Manilow. That happened with me.
Barry Manilow.
I went in there 100% wanting to make fun of what I was going to see. And I was like, what a good show that guy put on.
The one really amazing, John Davidson.
Oh, yeah.
John Davidson, you go thinking, we don't even know who he is, we don't care. And at the end of the show, I went, this is like Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing. He's lying on the stage, on his back, saying to the microphone, I used to be so beautiful. I used to be. Just so out, so crazy, so wonderful.
Yeah.
So loving. Shecky Green, fabulous. I don't know. I saw Buddy Hackett near the end of his career. He was
Right.
wonderful. Don Rickles.
Rickles
the end of
was
his-
great, yeah.
Wonderful. You see Tom Jones.
Yeah.
We talked enough about Tom Jones,
Yeah.
So, yeah, those people who have those legends do usually stand up to the scrutiny. You go to that show and you go, wow. And I was surprised that didn't happen when I saw Cher.
Cher sang Walking in Memphis in like a $10,000 pink sweatshirt.
Yeah.
That was a weird moment for me.
Was Walking in Memphis one of her hits?
That's what I said to my wife. I turned to her and I go, why is she singing Walking in Memphis? She goes, she made this song huge. I goes like, no, many people know the song Walking in Memphis, and many people hear the original sing in their head when you bring it up. No one, I don't think most people think of Cher
And she also,
Walking in Memphis.
She also had all these posters saying Shelvis. Like Shelvis was a thing. Like Cher and Elvis. Shelvis. And she also talked about her humble beginnings in an interview and said, which I thought was a very odd thing to say, I loved Elvis. Elvis was coming to L.A. We lived there. I said to my mom, let's go see Elvis. And she said, yeah, that'll be fun.
Very humble beginnings. Very humble.
You know what I mean? I don't know how easy it was to see Elvis in L.A. in the 60s. Seemed like that could have been hard.
Yeah.
But she didn't sing. She sang Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves and Half Breed, but nothing about being Armenian from Turkey.
No.
That didn't come up.
No.
But I bet there's a song there. I should write that song and submit it to her. Do you know Cher's last name original?
Her last name?
Yeah.
McDonald?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Isn't that funny? I thought I would know that, but I don't.
Huh, no idea.
I thought everybody would know that. Like, we know Madonna's name, right? Chucchione or something.
Or something.
Close.
The or something kind of ruins your theory entirely, doesn't it?
But close enough.
Oh, Sarkeesian.
Sarkeesian. Yeah, that's her
Yeah.
name. Sarkeesian.
Sherilyn Sarkeesian.
Sherilyn Sarkeesian. Yeah. Better to go with Cher, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, you did your hillbilly act in Kentucky.
I did.
Speaking of half breed,
I did the show out there.
They beat you up?
They did not beat me up. It was a fun show. It was definitely, and this is hard to explain because I had a great time, loved doing it, and everyone seemed to have a good time. It did play out exactly like anxiety nightmares that I regularly have. So the theater got moved from a small theater to a 900-seat theater.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden I get there and the guy, RJ, my manager director, is like, they have him out on task doing something else, and he's not there when I go to set up the show. I go to set up the show, and they're also setting up a band. I go to look around, and all of a sudden they're letting the audience in, and I haven't set up anything. And then I'm going to check for stuff, and I haven't packed everything. And then RJ said, Walmart, getting things that I need to do. And all this is happening, and I kept saying it to people as this was happening, I was like, this is just like nightmares I have. Like, I'm not having a bad time. I'm just letting you know it's exactly like nightmares I wake up from all the time, where I can't get out on stage. I can't get out there. Like, I can't get stuff out there, and I can't get out there. And it was like all these things kept happening, and like and I finally went on like 90 minutes late.
Not your fault?
Not my fault.
I thought for me you were Cher.
Well, that's it. Because I was like, I cannot believe I'm going to go out there. And so I basically, but like, we have events happening all day, and everybody's with us all day. So it wasn't like a bunch of people with just tickets to a 7 o'clock show showed up. You know what I mean? So at least we had like a bunch of other stuff going on, and there was a band, and there was karaoke, and there was other things happening. But it just was in my head. I was like, I can't figure out what to get out there and do it. And but then I finally got out there, and the audience loved it, and I had a blast doing it. And my comfort performing the show is getting better each time. I really like it. I really can't stop thinking about it. I really can't stop thinking about what I want to do with Hill Bill. And it's really fun. So I was very happy they brought me out there. Great crowd. Everybody very well received. Blew my finale trick.
Ooh, that's not good.
No, but I was out there. It was basically a big podcast festival, so no one cared. I just finished it out like, well, you know exactly what it's like when I finish out things, even though I've messed them up. So I just did that. And everybody went, and did it. And it's funny, I had a friend's wife help me on the show because I couldn't bring a bunch of dancers out. So she sang a song, SJ, Sarah Jessica. And after the set came back, oh, that's the other thing. So like, it was on such a big stage, no one could hear backstage. So anything I had coming in from the wings or me going out to the wings, no one could hear a thing. So no one was on time for their entrances or exits or anything like that. And so it was a lot of like me feeling like normally they'd be coming out because I called their name, and now I'm going to sit here and talk to you guys. And then she, afterward, I came back there. She goes, I've been a magician's assistant. Normally when something like that goes wrong at the end, they're back here slamming things and yelling at people. And I said, I have failed so often on stage. I am not worried about this at all.
Pros.
It's like not even my top 10 worst walk-offs of stage ever. not even close. A trick going a little wrong, great. Knowing that I just offended someone who I wanted to sell a sitcom to, much worse. Much worse. So no, it was all good. But it was.
Any comments on your accent?
Plenty. Yeah. I'm not. I'm doing an accent I can stick to. It has no accuracy to region or sound.
What were their comments?
Just more just busting my chops. Everybody just knows that they're like, so what part of Appalachia are you from? That kind of stuff. Or you gotta slow down. You gotta talk slower. That kind of stuff. A lot of suggestions for jokes or wardrobe, that kind of stuff.
Well, the Appalachia goes up through Jersey, doesn't it?
It does. I think it does go through the western part of Jersey.
Some of the foothills.
Yeah. But no, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun out there. We did do, speaking of offended people, so we also not only did the live podcast, the Hillbill Show, and the Matt and Mattingly Show. And during the magic show, I brought up Paul's mom as a volunteer. So Irene Mattingly was in the audience, and I brought her up, and she was part of it. I didn't pay much attention. Like, you do certain things so many times, you don't think about stuff. And so Paul and I played this game in the improv show called Triple Threat, where we run one suggestion through three joke formats, right? And we do 185. I like my women like I like my blank, and what's the difference between blank and your mom?
Yeah.
Which I didn't think about. We do it all the time. So I made all of these horrible jokes about Paul's mom, not realizing that Paul's mom was in the audience. And then after the show was over, she was gone. And at first I was like, your parents left. I was like, how strange. And then I took a minute. I was like, oh no. It's like I sat there. I just made at least 15 jokes about her. But Paul called. It turns out it was just late, and they just wanted to go home, and so they already said hello and took pictures with us and stuff. So they didn't think they had to stick around to the end of the improv show. So they had left early. I was so afraid I had offended Irene.
Well, you know that Rich Nathanson's mother.
Yeah.
Has seen my penis 3 times. Twice. You know that story. I've told that story. haven't I?
You have, yeah. The one was the radio appearance,
Yeah,
right?
and I dropped my pants and threw my underwear,
Yeah.
and I threw it to my friend's mother. And I've given this advice before. Most of the advice we give on this show is useless. This is actually useful advice. If you are stripping for a group of people as a joke or for any reason, don't throw your clothes far away. Because walking through the crowd naked and bending over and picking up your underwear is embarrassing. Drop it right where you are, where you can get
Yeah.
it. Okay? I didn't know that. I flung my underwear to a friend of mine's mom.
If you know this rule, it is funny to know this rule because then you realize every time you do see someone take their clothes off professionally, they do know this.
Yeah, they do.
It's always interesting to see where someone in a burlesque
It's
act
only
or
the
a stripper,
amateurs throwing their underwear.
yeah, they throw it back to where they're going to walk off. They toss it behind them because that's where they're going to exit.
Yep.
You know, those kinds of
You also don't have to buy new underwear every show.
things. Yeah, all that. They have thought about all of that.
Yeah, I hadn't. And then another time we had people come up from the audience to examine us naked before we did a magic trick. And Teller picked people from the audience and picked Rich's mom. And this was like within 3 months. And Rich Davis called me up and said, when will you stop showing your cock to my mother?
So you do or don't want to talk about the third time?
That was private. There might have been one more time after that, but she was good-natured about it.
Good.
Rich was
Complimentary or just good natured?
Less so. Rich was less so.
Rich was confused.
And the on-stage one must have been great because she would be able to confirm that it was indeed you.
Did she give you any notes or things to work on? Any pointers?
No, she said nothing. It was like Jim Rose.
Yeah.
Jim Rose does penis origami.
Oh yeah.
He folds his penis up to make it look like a hamburger or
Right,
different things. Sure. And he would. I think I said this before. Did I tell this before? I think so. He said he was showing it to my girlfriend. Want to see penis origami? And she said yes. We were backstage. So Jim Rose pulled his pants down and then said, well, you got to excuse me. I'm having kind of a bad dick day. And then he folded his cock and balls and all these different things and made a puppet and made a hamburger and stuff like that. Did the stuff. And he finished and I left with my girlfriend and she was an actor in L.A. And she said to me, what did he mean, bad dick day? I said, I don't know. She said, well, you smiled and nodded like, oh, yeah, we've all had that. She said, well, I don't know what it meant. I said, I guess I didn't either. She said, well, why'd you agree with him then? I said, well, she said, I think he just has a penis that isn't as attractive as he'd like and says that bad dick day and people are supposed to believe it. But I've never known any of the men that I've known to say I'm having a bad dick day. I said, well, good point. I said, I don't know what he's talking about. So then I was, like 6 months later, I was listening to the radio and there was a local show that had Jim Rose on. And they said, well, we're on the radio here. Would you like to see some penis origami? And they said, oh, sure. And he pulled his pants down. I said, you have to excuse me. I'm having a bad dick day. So I believe it was part of the patter.
It's part of the pattern.
Yeah, part of the patter. I did not say anything to Rich's mother about what kind of dick day it was.
Right. I was going to say, but you might have you accidentally showed your cock to someone's mom twice in 3 months.
Yeah.
You might have actually just caught him on 2 bad dick days.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't eliminate that possibility.
Have you ever felt you had a bad dick day?
I mean, there's the whole like getting out of the ocean or something like that kind of a thing.
Is that a bad dick day?
Well, your penis shrinks in cold water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Bad dick day? No,
he
no.
wasn't in the
A
ocean.
bad dick day to me would be like I tried to pee and it didn't come out, and now I'm in like a lot of pain. That's a bad dick day.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
would you
or
then
itchy, particularly itchy.
Yeah, anything itchy or burny, that's a bad dick day.
would
If
you
there's blood involved.
Yeah.
Would you-
Exactly. Something
you-
besides urine coming out.
would you then say that and then fold it into a cheeseburger?
Sorry.
I think if I were
Sorry,
folding
buddy.
my, yeah.
Sorry,
already-
buddy. I I have a penis riddled with STDs, but who wants a hamburger?
I don't know. That's
I've been peeing razor blades for a week, but does anyone know what time it is?
boyga time. So Kentucky went well. You were happy.
Yeah, I was happy with it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to just perform Hillbill like more often, and I don't know how to.
Well, we're doing new bits in our show.
That's right.
We did a
You said you did three?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys?
We got another one going in next week that I'm going to work on after this show. And we're also recording all the VR stuff. We're doing a lot of work. Well, what work? We're doing a lot of what we do.
You're spending a lot of time.
And we did a thing called Street Magic. We wanted to do, I don't think, we do it so good-naturedly and so playfully that I don't think people realize how cruel it is. But we do a thing called Street Magic on the streets of Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And we do street magic the way real street magicians do it, which is completely faked everywhere.
Right.
So we have a screen up above the stage where you see what will be going off on TV. And then you have the live show where you can see all of it. So you can see forklifts behind the walls and people like that. And it went really well. People seem to like it. We make everybody put on hoodies, you know, and we say, street magic a lot. Whoa, look at that. Whoa, want to see another one? It's a lot of that. It's very, very mean-spirited, but ends up with a huge amount of kindness.
Okay.
And it's really funny. And we have a velvet painting of Elvis that produces a card, which is a great thing to have. It's very, very Vegas. But you guys would like it. You should come see it.
All right.
I want to come see it. Yeah.
Although we decided during rehearsal that we probably should have it underscored. So the whole time we're out there going, we're Penn Teller Street Magic. Just some really lame beat going constantly behind it. And then I did a trick that I did a version of at one bucket show. A really complicated mental memorization trick with a very, very obtuse introduction theoretical. I mean, it may be Penn Jillette in a nutshell.
Sure.
And the audience was polite and realized that what I was doing was really, really hard. But I was talking about the bit's called trust. I was talking about the level of trust that the audience decides, and said, you decide how good a trick is. Because if you are not trusting enough, then I said if you aren't trusting enough, then you run on stage, take this out of our hands, and the tricks don't work. But if you're too trusting, you haven't seen any trick. We just told you, you have to check things. So you decide what level you want to see of magic. And I pull out a deck and I go, this deck has been fully shuffled by someone backstage. Now, if you believe that, we can go on with the trick. But if you want to doubt that, I'll open it up and I'll give them a shuffle. But now I do false shuffles, and that was one of them. So you could have somebody in the audience look at the cards being all different. You see the cards different, no order? She goes, no order. And I go, but she could be a plant. I mean, how far do you want to go with this? Now, do you want to shuffle the cards? Go ahead, shuffle them. And then I come up and I say, I'm going to look at the order that you have the cards in. I'm going to memorize them in 10 seconds. Now, here's the question. David Blaine doing card tricks, and then all of a sudden he can hold his breath longer than anybody. Is that just a remarkable coincidence? I said, no, I've been doing tricks, and now in the middle of a show full of tricks, I claim to be able to memorize an entire deck of cards in 10 seconds. People can do it. Am I one of them? So now you got to decide right now whether you're seeing a juggling trick or a magic trick. Because if I really can memorize the cards, then you're seeing a juggling trick. I've claimed I can do something, and then I demonstrate I can do it. I'm going to juggle 5 clubs. There he juggled 5 clubs. That's a juggling trick. But if you don't think I can memorize it, then I have a skill that you don't know I have that masquerades as something else. So I'm going to do a magic trick now that might be a juggling trick and might be a magic trick, and you people decide in the audience which trick you'd like to see. If you think I'm lying about memorizing, then you're seeing a magic trick. If you think I'm telling the truth about memorizing, you're seeing a juggling trick. Enjoy it. I do the trick.
Nice.
But all of those ideas are ideas that I'm obsessed with that other people aren't.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see if they like it. I'm going to say, my Mac needs to be plugged in, and I got to do this thing after.
Oh, geez.
But what else we got going on here, Godot?
You know, I'm-
Godot, what's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm actually been. You want to borrow a charger?
Won't work for me.
Won't work for you. That's what you get for getting the fancy new one.
Yeah.
Look at you, fancy pants.
fancy pants. I got an email a few weeks ago from a company in England that are looking. They're in charge of the advertising for the DVD Blu-ray release of the My Little Pony movie.
Uh-huh.
And they emailed me and said, "Can you make a My Little Pony pancake for us?" Because coincidentally, the movie is being released on February 2nd, which is Pancake Day.
Ah.
And so they want a My Little Pony pancake. So I've hired my daughter to start making My Little Pony pancakes.
How do you have to make them for every person that buys Little Pony?
No. It's just we have to do a video on how to make a My Little Pony pancake.
How do you make a Little Pony pancake?
Well, it turns out it's pretty hard. I was surprised. I'm one of those where I almost immediately regretted having made this agreement.
Of course I can. Can I?
Yeah, exactly. My Little Pony pancake, no problem. Oh, crap. I had never looked at a My Little Pony up close before. It's tough.
You have seen that there are Penn and Teller My Little Ponies, right?
Yeah. Well, if you want a My Little Pony Penn and Teller pancake, this would be a good time to request it.
You were hired to produce, direct, and write a demo video of how to make a Little Pony
My
pancake.
Little Pony pancake. That's correct.
And they found you because you're the funny pancake expert.
I'm the funny pancake expert, exactly. And so I've developed a new pancake technique now.
What is this?
This is very exciting. It turns out you can take a paintbrush and actually paint on your pan when it's not hot the batter.
Mm-hmm.
So you can paint with a paintbrush. So I can make really fine eyelashes and some of the details on My Little Ponies, which I hadn't realized were there. And then put pancake batter over the top of the pancake batter that's already on there. And then when you cook it and flip it over, it's a picture. It's a really nice.
In caramelized.
Well, no, actually, this is with food coloring. I'm doing My Little Pony with food coloring because one of the things about My Little Ponies is that they're very bright colors.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just doing food coloring in this one.
So you're painting on a cold pan.
I'm painting on a cold pan
With
and then
food
covering it
coloring.
with
Sounds like a blues song.
Not with food coloring, with
Painting on a coal pan.
painting on a cold pan with pancake batter that I've dyed. So I have black pancake batter,
Mm-hmm.
and I have pink pancake batter, and I have yellow pancake batter, and I paint it onto the pan, and then I put more pancake batter over the top, and then turn the heat on, and it cooks it into a pancake, and you flip it over.
You know what I just realized?
What's that?
We are probably doing a sequel to Tim's Vermeer. We could really use a pancake of the view of Delft.
Oh yeah, I'm fairly sure I'm your guy.
I was going to say that I realized that the My Little Pony people did hire the right guy. Yeah. They had hired another chef. I don't know who would have figured that out. I mean, you figure that on your own, or you look at the
No,
internet
that's
or
new.
something?
That's a new technique.
That
Never
sounds-
tried it.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to do it. I usually do it with just ketchup bottles, and my drawings are relatively crude. They're usually done for comedy effect, and this one needs to be kind of pretty.
Yeah.
And so I can't figure out how to do this. I've been trying to make these thin lines. I'm never going to get it.
From the makers of Tim's Vermeer.
That's right.
From the quest for the prettiest pancake ever made.
That's right. My Little Pony pancake.
Edvard Munch's The Scream in Pancakes.
The lunch.
This controversy.
Monk's the lunk.
It's offensive. There's no way he painted on a cold pan. That technology wasn't available back then.
That's very close. Yeah.
Now, are you happy with the results?
So far, yes. I have another week before I have to have it done, and I'm sure we will have one that they will love by then.
One pancake?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a video. I don't need a bunch of
One pancake.
one pancake that is 2 weeks of work for one
Now, are
pancake.
you shipping it to him? Photographing it?
No, photographing and video.
Okay.
And going to put together like a little how-to video, and I'll send that to them, and they'll put it in their My Little Pony whatever frame.
Universe.
Put it in their framing for their DVD and put it out. Release it on Pancake Day to try to generate business for the My Little Pony movie.
You know, I
A
did.
lot of pancake enthusiasts going to be flocking.
Yeah, I think this will be big. This is the moment. This is the break I've been looking for.
Are you now that you've discovered this new technique? Are you going to maybe put out a sequel to your book? Are you going to update it?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should.
It seems like it's a worthy update. It seems like at the very least it's worth a Kindle update.
It is an update. It's a good Kindle update.
You have a new pancake technique.
I get told all the time that books that I've bought on my Kindle have been updated.
Yeah.
I don't go back and read them again.
I know.
I'm done with those books. Finished.
It's hard enough to read a whole book,
Yeah.
let alone reread it.
And then
Looking
try
for
to find
subtle
the,
changes.
Try to find the differences. Oh no! Now there's 2 spaces here.
Yeah.
There's a character called Waldo in the 60s.
Turns out I didn't think I knew how to use a semicolon. It turns out they didn't either. Book updated.
Shouldn't have that semicolon.
Is there any? Have you ever had to update any of your books? How many books you've written?
Update.
6?
What would you? Yeah. What would you? I don't know.
I've written 11 books.
11 books?
No, 7 books. 7 or 11. I've written a convenience store of books. No, I don't think so. Yes, I mean, we have in Presto, in the second printing, we fixed a lot of stuff when it went to paperback.
Oh, okay.
Mistakes that were in the hardcover.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You're still an atheist, though, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Your Kindle's been updated. God, yes. I'm
God,
not
yes. Pretty
I
important.
can't find
change.
any differences.
The dick and the blow dryer is still the same story, but now he believes in God.
Hey, there's a guy in a like a commercial blow drying his dick.
Really?
There is. Yeah.
I should get a piece of that.
That's what I
I don't
thought.
mean the commercial. I
That's
mean the
what I
dick.
thought. He's a good-looking fella. You should.
Now that's a bad dick day.
Yeah.
Chopping your cock in a blow dryer is a bad dick day.
What else happened to you, Go?
Oh, you know, my wife was covering for a friend at work, filled in a day for her friend going to Hawaii, and her friend brought back the gift that everyone gets from Hawaii.
Macadamia nuts.
Macadamia nuts, exactly. The macadamia nuts in chocolate.
Yeah.
You know,
Why would you put macadamia nuts in chocolate? Macadamia nuts on their own are good enough.
Amazing.
turns out my wife doesn't like macadamia nuts. And I came home, and she had sucked the chocolate off of all of them, and they were sitting in the box, just the
That's a
macadamia
joke.
nuts.
That's a disgusting joke.
It's true. It's absolutely true. Just an odd moment in my life this week. I couldn't imagine why my wife would actually have done that, but there they were.
If your wife can suck a bunch of chocolate off of macadamia nuts, I don't know why you're
That's
asking
why
any
she's
questions.
my wife.
That's right. I love her.
Oh, I just remembered now. We did the pre-show organization. I just remembered now a topic I want to talk about.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, so right now my kids are getting to the age where I can start looking at preschools and kindergartens and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna start
And-
taking them around like a college, just touring to see
we
which
started
of the-
walking around, and at first, you know, this is a conversation we were having. Friends of ours, like the cheapest preschool. So preschool is not covered by public education in Nevada, only kindergarten and up. And so if you want to do the pre-K thing, you got to pay for it. And turns out, like by a long shot, the cheaper ones are religious ones, right? And it was very funny because I really don't want that to happen. I just don't.
You went to Catholic school?
I went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
And I know, and I became an atheist. Like, I know the trajectory. It's just simply as a parent, I don't want to do these conversations this early. I think it'd be so much easier to have to send my kids to a Catholic high school or something from 7th grade up where you can just have conversations. My kids haven't even formed these ideas. So how do I,
Right.
do I intervene? Do I say, don't let them tell you there's a God. What's a God? We'll talk later. I don't know how to, we're born atheists. I don't know how to prep them for belief, and a waste of time. And, but they're cheap. And so my wife was leaning towards but we'll educate them and they'll be smart kids and we'll be fine and that kind of stuff. And I just was like, I know, but the guilt currency and all that stuff that you kind of have to deal with before you start to even think about it. Going back and forth, she goes and she subs at a school. My wife goes and teach at a school. And the school is...
And she's qualified to be a substitute teacher?
well, this is a private school. So she's an expert in her field. She's brought in as an expert in her field to teach kids dance in a theater program. And she's brought it for the whole day, and so she's there for the morning announcements. And in the morning announcements, they're like, and we pray for this administration, any administration, to end the senseless murder of innocent, babies through the terrible practice of abortion. this we pray. And she was like, it's 7 a.m. for these high school kids. They're being told to pray to stop abortion every morning? Like, and through like administrations, and they're being taught about politics. She's like, she was blown away. Like, she thought it'd be like, something, of course they teach it. Of course they're anti-abortion. Of course they teach it. But she didn't think it would be like an absolute, like, in the morning, everyone talk about it every morning. Let's get it done kind of thing. And man, I was so happy. It flipped her so fast. We are now no lot. Now we're not. Now we both either we can afford pre-K or we can't. But we're not going to go.
Why don't you go to Lana's Montessori?
We did. We were doing that for a while, and then
She got another llama. That was it. You
I
snapped.
gave her my chicken. No, she her class in Keeler's age filled up on us this year, and I don't know if it's going to be full next year or not. But it's also for just far away. We're looking for a place close by. We're on the other side of town. But we think it might be Lana's.
She has a good Montessori school.
She does have a great Montessori school, and our kids did initially go there for daycare stuff, and it was great.
Our children went there.
Yeah,
They liked it.
yeah,
They liked it. Now they're in other schools.
yeah. But the non-religious paid preschool is really expensive around
It's
town.
surprising.
It is. I know, but it's like it can get up to like basically $1,000 a month.
Whoa,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
that's a lot of money.
yeah, especially if you have 2 kids.
Wow, what does that come out to?
I don't know. That's a lot.
1 times 2.
Wish I hadn't gone to Catholic school.
Yeah, so like religious, you can find stuff for like $300 to $500 a month, and then anything on the ones near us, all the non-religious ones, go like anywhere from basically around 8 and change to 1,000.
Yeah, we had a wonderful thing happen that the most expensive school that we sent Moxie and Z to, they hated it and we hated them, and they hated us.
Yeah.
We saved a lot of money with that.
Yeah. We walked out of this one tour. They don't say how much till the end because they're good salespeople. We walked out and I said, this is easy. And Sarah said, what? I said, we just get rid of our cars, and our car payments plus our car insurance equals, almost all of that.
There
So
you
we just
go.
got to ride around on bikes, and our kids go to school. Yeah. One of our kids goes to school.
Tells the other about it.
Can we alternate? Can we send
Send one
back?
each day.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Oh, but yeah. So I don't know what we're gonna do, but at least we're fine with the non-religious part
Now.
now.
I was talking to Mac King,
Yeah.
and we were talking about Lance Burton retiring. Mm-hmm. And I said to Mac, are you going to retire? He said, well, Eli, that's their daughter,
Yeah.
been getting into good schools, so nope.
I don't know why this happens, but I hear rumors all the time that he is.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
retiring. He loves doing the show.
Yeah.
What else do we do? We don't have anything else.
That's the thing. He seems like a lifer like you. That's why I was surprised to hear it.
He's a lifer.
He doesn't seem like the kind who's looking for.
I mean, maybe we're blowing his negotiation. Maybe
oh my gosh.
he's playing it that way.
Oh my gosh.
Like we're ruining.
Shoot.
We're doing everything wrong.
He did want to go do performing arts centers.
The chances that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Caesars listens to our podcast are 0.
At least, and it's this far in too.
Yeah.
To the Wednesday episode.
I'll just cover it with Randy singing anyway.
Anything else, kiddo?
Nah, that was a good.
Anything coming up? We got a lot of stuff coming up, boy, but a lot of it's
I'm
secret.
going to be in Hermosa Beach in a couple weeks.
Oh, what's the date?
Hold on, let me pull that up. I can find that. I know I have that capability. I am doing a week in Hermosa Beach, February 6th through the 10th.
That'll
And
be
then the 11th, I'm actually not going to be here. I'm doing It's Magic in Cerritos, California.
Uh-oh, it's magic.
11th, we might not have a show anyway. We
That'd
might
be
have 2.
great.
We're also going to be doing, coming up, we're doing Billy West and Gene Simmons.
Ah.
Oh,
Doing those.
fun.
Those
I know that we have some dates in March that are off for your filming.
Yeah, and we
dates.
also got next week, we're not doing one, because we're doing Pete Holmes.
All right.
We'll be playing Pete Holmes next week, so I won't see you guys next week. Unless I see you socially, which I never do.
And we don't have video for that.
What's that? We don't.
There'll be no video.
That bothers you, doesn't it?
Well, I'm just telling the YouTube crowd now.
Okay.
You could put the video on yourself while you were watching the video.
Doesn't
Yeah, I've
bother
already
me.
done
Watch
that.
you watch it,
I've already done that one.
of course.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Oh, no.
Oh gosh.
Christ.
Ready.
That was
That-
Penn
that-
Sunday
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears,
And then you become naked.
angels sang and round us rang the music of the spheres.
You might really like the Pete Holmes thing. We talk a lot about acid, a lot about God. Yes, it was. You know I love you.